thank you very much for joining us tonight. We are really, really excited to have you and honored really that you could spare some minutes to be with us and just get to learn more. And I see you are here. I see Nolaska. Nolaska, how are you and how is Tanzania? Thank you very much for joining in. And Cynthia Ward from Kisii. Her day was great. Excellent, excellent. Wanjao Maina, thank you very much for confirming you're well. And Felix, how are you? And I hope all is well. So my name is Grace Nzula, and it's really, really amazing to see you tonight. If you're joining us for the first time, you are tuned into what we call Get It Right with Atara Solutions. Get It Right with Atara Solutions is a webinar series that seeks to demystify issues in employment and entrepreneurship. We do this in collaboration with a number of organizations, and unfortunately, I'm not able to share my screen today, so I don't know what's going on. Maybe we shall give them a shout out towards the end. Can you hear me, Richard?
Loud and clear. Loud and clear.
Okay. All right. I saw you holding this, and I've seen somebody asking whether we can increase volume. Maybe, Mercy, you can check whether your volume is working as well, because I was just confirming. All right. So my name is Grace Nzula, and you're tuned in to Get It Right with Atara Solutions. Get It Right with Atara Solutions is a webinar series that seeks to demystify issues in employment and entrepreneurship. And we are here every Tuesday from 8 p.m. where we discuss different matters that affect both employers and employees. All right, so we do this every Tuesday from 8 p.m. And if you want to catch up with very, very amazing conversations that you'd pay millions to access, you can log into our YouTube channel, which is Get It Right with Atara Solutions, and just choose to listen to any of the speakers. You can do that as you're driving. You can do that as you're taking a matatu home or a bajaji home or whatever it means that you use to go home, or you go to work at the same time. Or you can just find time to just catch up and know what we have been discussing and get to experience a different world of knowledge. And of course, we do this with my co-host. Unfortunately, our sign language interpreter is absent today, but nonetheless, we are going to continue. She got something that unfortunately she's not able to make it. But nonetheless, we are here and we are going to have fun and we're going to learn. So at this point in time, allow me to invite Richard. Richard, you can introduce yourself and also let people what you do.
Thank you very much, Grace. I am very excited to be here so that I can be able to know how to overcome imposter syndrome, the fear of success, or having the ability to succeed and then fearing. So that is what Anne Wamonja is going to demystify. My name is Richard J. Makoma. I recently discovered that I have another gift, fundraising, because we are dealing with imposter syndrome. Let me put it out there that it is good to say what you know, and people should get to know so that you shine when the time comes. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. We are going to have a good time. I am a trainer in public speaking, interview coaching, and so many other things that bring food on the table. Thank you, Grace.
Excellent, Richard, and we are happy to have you tonight, and we look forward to this session. And I would like to invite you to our masterclass on job evaluations. If you are a HR professional or you are in operations or you want to understand how to conduct job evaluations and develop job grades for different organizations, you want to join us on the 5th to 7th of November. That is going to be happening here in Nairobi, and the charges are 35,500 for the 3 days. And you're gonna have so much fun and a lot of engagement because we are gonna make it very, very practical for you, such that by the time you're leaving those 3 days, you will go home and wonder what you have been doing with your life on matters job evaluation. So join us from the 5th to 7th of November here in Nairobi, and be on the lookout for flyer with more details on or contact us at Atara Solutions for more details about that. And yeah, so this evening, we want to engage a conversation that has pretty much, in fact, I was looking at the statistics on imposter syndrome, and I was like, oh my God, I think we have all had an experience when it comes to imposter syndrome. And sometimes, sometimes when you have gotten something working for you, or an opportunity, and you've started asking yourself, okay. So if you want, you can engage us on the chat and let us know. Have you had any experiences with the imposter syndrome? You can talk for a friend. If you don't want to talk for yourself, you can say, yes, you've experienced that with a friend of yours, with a neighbor of yours, with your children, with your brothers and sisters, and just in your community. Have you had experience with imposter syndrome? I know it is something that has really affected quite a number of professionals, and we are here to demystify and see what are the areas that we can work on when it comes to imposter syndrome. Now, with us, we have somebody who we can say is an authority in the areas of imposter syndrome. One, because she's an author of a book called Overcoming Imposter Syndrome, and she's gonna tell you how to access that book. And number two, I will not tell you number two, I will leave it to you for her to tell you what the other number two is. But with us is my colleague, Anwa Monje. Anwa Monje is a HR consultant, a published author, a training facilitator, and she works with us at Atara Solutions. And we are honored that she chose to be with us and just demystify or unpack this imposter syndrome business and just help us to overcome.
All right. Grace, this is the part we start overcoming, right?
This is the part we start. This is where it begins. Oh,
All
yes,
right.
this is where it begins. Yes.
All right. So, good evening, everybody, and good morning and good night, depending on where you are. And thank you so much for joining this session tonight. I know you'd rather be elsewhere, but we are glad that you chose to join us here today. So, before I go into the details of what we are speaking about here, I think it is there's the general assumption that when we say imposter syndrome, people actually understand what that is. But the reality is that there are people who have heard that for the first time when they saw this flyer. So maybe you have felt it or you have encountered it by yourself or through somebody else, but you've never just found a name to it. So we are going to have that conversation tonight so that we can all get to understand what is this imposter syndrome that we are talking about. So allow me to share my screen and then we'll go into the presentation. All right, so I am sure all of us can be able to see my screen. As I said, my name is Anwa Monje. I am a certified HR practitioner, and currently I work as a consultant and a trainer. I have been working in HR for 14 years now, and I am also an award-winning mentor. And one of the reasons why I am speaking in this forum is because I have co-authored a book called Overcoming Imposter Syndrome. I'll discuss that towards the end of this conversation, so you can also get a copy for yourself and have a read. I consider myself a gym rat. If you don't know what that is, you can Google. And the second one here, when I say an elite hiker, is for gloating. It is very important for me to gloat, but I am probably the only person that has climbed Mount Kilimanjaro to the top. So you are in the presence of greatness, if I would say that. But that aside, I also am a blogger. I have a site called Human Resource, as it has been spelled here. So if you're looking for information around employment relationships, whether you're an employer or an employee, you can be able to visit the site and have a read. But then tonight, we are talking about imposter syndrome. And when we talk about imposter syndrome, without going into the definition or the textbook definition of what imposter syndrome, I'm going to ask a few questions to you. And if you answer yes to them, one or two or three, then you know that this session is definitely for you. So what is imposter syndrome? So the questions I would like you to ask yourself. You can respond on the chat, you can respond inwardly, however you choose to go about it. But do you generally over prepare for a project or a presentation, and even after that you still feel like you did not do enough? Number two, do you make it a point to downplay your accomplishments in spite of the effort that you put in to get there? The other question is, when somebody complimented you last time, did you say thank you or did you hesitate? Even though you know you had achieved a milestone, you have graduated from the university with your master's degree or your bachelor's or your diploma, and somebody says congratulations, and you're like, yeah. The other thing I would want to ask is, do you hesitate to take up challenging responsibilities within your capabilities because you think you won't do well in them? So think through the questions that I have asked here. And if you answer yes to one or all or whichever number to these questions, then you most definitely are suffering from what we call imposter syndrome. And what is imposter syndrome? It is that general, constant nagging feeling of not being capable enough or being fraudulent, even though there is evidence of your success and your achievements. But every time that subject comes up, you doubt yourself, you feel like you are defrauding people and you're not being your real self, when we can all see that you are actually doing great. And with that in mind, some of the things that people with imposter syndrome keep telling themselves are, I am not talented enough. You have as you are a sports person or something of that sort, and you have been training and training and you qualify for that event and you go and you participate there, you win or you don't. But then when you look back at all that accomplishment and you think, no, I don't think I'm talented enough. But we all know that for you to even get to that stage, you have actually put in a lot of work. You tell yourself things like, I am not capable enough, I am not experienced, I got here by accident. You doubt yourself and you ask things like, what if I fail? What if they fire me? What if they don't pick me? You have attended that interview and you have given your 115%. And then you go back home and you start overthinking all the questions, the way they were asked and how you should have responded. And you overthink this whole scenario until by the time you're done, you are convinced that you actually did not get that part. And when you finally get the offer from that potential employer, instead of celebrating it, you start feeling like, yeah, I was just lucky. I don't think I had what it takes, or I had what it took to be able to get that role. So, how does imposter syndrome look like? And a lot of us, if not all, have been able to experience one or more of these. And, we generally tend to believe that imposter syndrome is a women issue. But the reality is that men suffer from imposter syndrome just as much as women, because imposter syndrome is something that attacks you when you are potentially trying to move to the next level of your life. If you are on your comfort zone, I can promise you that you will not hear of imposter related issues. But the moment you attempt to take that next step, your boss has left the organization and there is a vacancy, and you are very fit and confident to be able to take up that role, but you keep thinking, hey, if I get that job, then I will be too exposed to management and I don't think I will be able to do well at it. Or you are a lady who has gone for maternity leave and now it is time for you to come back to work, and you come back and with deliver childbirth and all that, you feel like you're not in your best frame of mind or body or whatever it is, however you define it, and you start doubting your ability to be able to do the job which you were able to do very well before you even left for your maternity leave. So you feel every time something new or something challenging comes up, you overly think about it, you overly prepare for it, you overly doubt yourself, and you end up actually not doing anything about it. And think of that example of the promotion that I was talking about. So this internal opportunity has come up at your workplace, and you have been told anybody is able to, is free to apply for it. So you hesitate, you overthink, you go through all those motions. Then the deadline passes, and the shortlisting is done, the interviews are done, and the person you least expected is actually interviewed, and they succeed in that role, and they are given an offer as you are sitting there and staring and waiting. Then all of a sudden, the person who was actually junior to you has suddenly become your senior. And you had all the opportunity and all the abilities to be able to step up, but you are held back because of some sort of fear. So imposter syndrome shows up in aspects like failing to apply for a promotion or asking for a salary increment because you feel undeserving. You have been working very hard for this organization. You have given your very best, but you have been earning the same salary for the last 2 years. But the thought of asking for an increment just scares the hell out of you. Because why? You feel like, I need to do some more. Immediately I get to that level, then I can now confidently go and ask for the increment. And you keep thinking like that, and it is 5 years and it is 10 years, and you start saying, this place is not rewarding performers, stuff like that. But then the fear inside of you is the one that is actually stopping you from taking that step forward. Number two, it may show up in when you constantly second guess yourself in decision making, even though you are the expert in that area. You are sitting in a meeting with your peers, and an area of your area of expertise is being questioned, and instead of giving your professional opinion, or guiding the team on how to go about it, you can't even speak. Why? Because you are so afraid of saying the wrong thing. And with that, you start feeling, if I say what is actually on my mind, I might actually be exposed by these people that I don't know what I am doing. Number three, sometimes we find yourself saying yes to everything and everyone just so that you can make people happy, even though you are overwhelmed. It is the people pleasing kind of thing, so that you can be able to fit in and not be able to stand out, So there is also the other aspect of failing to raise your hand. And I have quoted raising your hand because that is an interpretation of stepping up. So you're failing to raise your hand even though you should. Why? Because you are afraid of being noticed. Think back about the example I have given with regards to the promotion in the internal opportunity that came up, and you sat back on your potential, like one of my clients keep saying. You sit back on your potential until somebody takes up that responsibility, and then you start regretting it. Then there are also people who are constantly chasing a new version of themselves. And these are the people who they are constantly studying for something new. They are doing this course, that course is done, they start this other one. They are perpetually in school. And then when you ask them, what have you done with all this skill set that you have been acquiring over the years? They have been working the same job over and over and over. And you're wondering, why are you doing all this work when it is actually not elevating you? When you look inside, you will find that this is somebody who is actually so afraid of taking the next step, even though they know they can actually do good at it, because they are afraid. And then there is also the other part where you attribute your success or accomplishments to luck and feel guilty when you succeed more than your friends. I know we all have friends that, your crew, your ride or die, or whatever you call it. And you keep shrinking yourself so that you can fit into this cohort of ride and die, even though you have a lot of potential. Why? Because you feel like if you outshine them, you might probably outgrow that friendship, and you will not, you guys will not be friends anymore. The reality is this: you have to outgrow people. If you are not outgrowing your circle, there is a problem. If you are still friends with the same people you were with in primary school, and you still have like the same conversations you are having in high school, you are having in campus, there's really nothing there. You have to outgrow people, you have to outgrow situations, you have to outgrow, so that you can move to the next level. But the reason we are afraid of outgrowing these situations or scenarios is because we are suffering from extreme imposter syndrome. So, what are some of the types of imposter syndromes that attack us? And I have these 5, do I call them gentlemen or ladies? This group of people here that show up sometimes in our minds. And as we continue to have this conversation, please remember that if you're suffering from imposter syndrome, which you have already identified at this point by the time we have gotten to this discussion, please note that you do not have a mental disorder. You are not insane, you are just afraid. So please don't confuse imposter syndrome with mental disorder. So let's look at the types. The perfectionist. You see that one person, if this is you here that I am describing, please feel attacked. And that is the only way that you will be able to recognize yourself, those two feelings that you have, and be able to do something about it. So you are the perfectionist. Everything must go according to how you planned it. And if one thing is out of place, you feel like you have failed everybody. You are doing this project that you guys say, for instance, it's an outdoor event that you're planning, and you have your vendors and you have everybody who is supposed to arrive at this time, and the speakers are supposed to take this order and what and what and what. And the night before the event, your main speaker calls you and tells you, I am stuck somewhere and I will not be able to show up tomorrow because of 1, 2, 3. And all of a sudden, your world collapses. And it is okay for your world to collapse at that moment, but you cannot stay collapsed. That is just one hitch that has hit you at that time. But because you had thought through this whole process to the T, if one of the letters of the alphabet is taken out of it, it just destabilizes everything. So and you end up not even celebrating the success of that event. Why? Because the original speaker that you had called in pulled out, and you had to get a replacement on very short notice. And you start feeling like, I failed all these guys who attended. None of them have even come to you to tell you, we had a terrible time. Everybody is coming to compliment you. That was a wonderful event, and we had fun, and the speeches were great, and here you are, because that one speaker was pulled out at the last minute. Then we have our next man or woman. This one is the superhero. When you're looking at the superhero, let me hold off to that as I come back. Let's go to the soloist. Soloist is not this one is not the choir that we know in terms of singing. The soloist here is the person, the one-man show. The one man, you have to be the one who does it. And if you get help from somebody else, then you start to feel like you are not good enough, or this was not done well, or all those other excuses that you give yourself so that you can overthink a situation that has actually turned out very well, but just because you got help from somebody else, so now that kills all the effort that you had put in. So people who have this soloist kind of imposter syndrome, they find it very difficult to delegate, and they also find it very difficult to ask for help. Then you have the expert. The expert is the person that knows, that believes that they should be able to know everything. If I am HR, if I'm a HR professional or a HR consultant, I must be an expert in recruitment. I must be an expert in training. I have to be an expert in job evaluation, change management, etc. And anytime you realize that I actually don't know much about that, then that destabilizes everything. Even for medical doctors, there's a reason why there's specialization. You cannot be an excellent gynecologist, you are an excellent, at the same time, you are an excellent dermatologist, you are a heart surgeon, you all this together. It is impossible to achieve that level of knowledge. So you need to be able to establish what is my area of expertise, as I also build up on these other areas that I need. Now, for a natural genius, this is someone who believes that they are naturally born brilliant. So they do not need to, you know, acquire any additional skills in that particular area, because I am very brilliant. And what that means, therefore, is that if they find themselves in a scenario where they are exposed and they actually don't have an understanding of that area that as they had anticipated, then that creates some level of imbalance in them. And this natural genius is closely tied to the superhero. You are always the one who has to come to the help of everybody. You have to be here and there and everywhere. So when you look at the superhero, the natural genius, and the expert, they are almost tied together. They are, how do I call it, birds of the same feathers, if you can be able to put it that way. So when you look at all these five gentlemen, or the four gentlemen and one lady, or all the five ladies here, where do you find yourself? Are you the perfectionist? Are you the superhero? Are you the natural genius? Are you the expert? Are you the soloist? If you are somebody who suffers from obsessive compulsive disorder, the people who are obsessed with the details, you know that the perfectionist IS is where you will find yourself belonging quite a bit, because you have to have everything, arranged as you had planned for it. So, what causes imposter syndrome? One, you have childhood experiences. We all have been brought up in different environments. We come from different places, and we have different experiences as far as our childhoods are concerned. Say, for instance, where you come from, say, for example, in school, you are coming from a background where there is extreme competition, to the point where if you are not number one, then there, you are nothing if you are not at the top. As you grow into your career, one of the things that you will keep experiencing is that if you are not leading in the workplace, then in your mind, you are failing. The reality is, you may not be failing, you are just not number one. So when we have that kind of experience, then as we grow older, we are, what is the right English word? As we grow older, we are conditioned to think that you are only successful if you are number one. So any other number other than one is a failure. As an adult, that is how you will translate the same at your workplace. Let's look at the cultural and societal expectations, and this affects women a lot. As a woman, especially if you're raised in the village like me, and you are coming from a traditional background like me, you are taught that a woman is supposed to sit back, and you are supposed to be seen and not to be heard, and you're not supposed to be very successful, you're not supposed to be that educated, you are supposed to serve the men. What does that do to you as you become older and as you enter the workspace? You start to think that if you are assertive as a lady, or if you are a team leader or one in charge of the department, you always have to stay quiet and you don't have to speak your mind. Why? Because if you do that, you will be seen to be too aggressive. You will be seen to be all those other things that a woman is not supposed to look like or to be. And if you're coming from a male dominated, a masculine and how do I call it? A chauvinistic kind of background, then it becomes even harder for you to be able to step up into your brilliance because you have been conditioned to be insignificant, if I would want to put it that way. Then we also have the workplace dynamics. In your current organization or in your current dynamics, do they celebrate people who actually express their opinions and express their brilliance? Or are these the people who are told, tone it down a little bit, dear? Even so and so was here and they didn't say 6 months. And I hope that all of us here can be able to understand what I am about to say here. You are told, unaona hiyo kiherehere uko nayo ndio ilifanya nani afutwe. But in reality, it is not kiherehere per se. It is just you showing up for yourself and showing up for your team and showing what you are capable of doing. But because that shocks other people or puts them out of their A game, you are branded to look like you are a nuisance as opposed to the brilliant human being that you are. Then we have the other aspect of social media. And now this one is real. We have all these social media platforms where everybody is thriving and no one is suffering, and people are giving testimonies about the things, the excellent things that they are doing, the vacations that they are taking in the Bahamas, the new clothes that they are purchasing, the new husbands that they are wedding, all that stuff. And you spend a lot of time on social media, especially on Instagram and TikTok. TikTokers and Instagrammers, this is for you. Facebook people, I think they're already tired, so they're not, but there's still pressure there. But when you come to TikTokers and Instagrammers, that is where everybody is thriving except you. But the reality is that this is content that is curated. In reality, when you meet some of those people on the streets, you would not believe it. Why? Because they look nothing like they look on social media. But because you are constantly filling your head with all these comparisons across socials, every time you try to do something good or you rise up there, you feel like, I can never get to the level of Anne. See the way Anne is thriving. Anne just did that HR conference last week. How can I even get to her level? But you see, my journey is not yours. Everybody is working at their pace. The only difference is that you are taking up a lot of unnecessary pressure from social media instead of focusing on building yourself block by block. And what that does in the end is that you will never feel capable enough. You will never feel good enough. And the reality is that all those people that you keep admiring, they have, most of them you will find they do not even have half of the capabilities that you have. In fact, one of the things that Barack Obama said is all these people that you keep fearing and they intimidate you and all that, when you actually enter the room where these guys are seated, you will realize that they are not even all that. So please remember, anytime you watch a social media post and it tries to intimidate you, two things: this is a curated content, number one. Number two, you are as brilliant as you are as a person. You don't need to compare yourself to that other person. They're walking their journey. Please walk yours. Then we also have personality traits that bring a lot of imposter syndrome. And one of the things I have mentioned here is people who are obsessive. The OCD people, my people, I can see you from the charts. If you are somebody with obsessive compulsive disorder, you will most likely find yourself suffering from imposter syndrome from time to time. Now, Who gets imposter syndrome? This is a very good chart of that will show you how many or which kinds of people get imposter syndrome. We have, I don't know whether that is green or the light green. I am colorblind, so please forgive me if I call that yellow. These are the on the top part. We have the people who get imposter syndrome. Then we have the blue on on my left. These are also the other people who get most likely going to get or have imposter syndrome, or they will get it at one point. And finally, this other one, I don't know whether that is purple or which color that is. These are also some of the people who get imposter syndrome. So what are we saying here? Everybody, literally everybody at one point or the other, will be able to find themselves in a scenario where they are attacked by imposter syndrome. You are not special. No one is special. And some of when you listen to leaders as they speak and they talk to you about their journeys in their careers and all that, they will tell you how much they struggled to believe in themselves, even though everybody thought that they were brilliant. Why? Imposter syndrome. So whether you are male, female, young, old, for as long as you are trying to make a step upwards, you will be attacked by fear. There is nothing abnormal about it. Feeling afraid is absolutely normal. In 2016, I was defending my thesis, master's thesis at Moy University. And you know, when you do a defense, the panel is made up of professors and doctors, and our panel had about 14 of them. So they have a boardroom there, and you have all these brilliant academicians who are seated there, and all of them are staring at you, and it is extremely intimidating. But one of the things I saw there was a gentleman who had also come to do his defense for his second PhD. So he already had one PhD, and he was about to defend his thesis for the next one. So this is not something that was new to him. He had done it before. For him to have gotten to that level, he was a bit kamze. And I looked at him before he entered that room, and that guy was scared to death. And he went in, he did his thing, and he came out. And I could see he stood on the wall there and just let out a very huge sigh. And he was like, I have never felt that scared before. And you know, for the rest of us who are lining up to go in, you're asking yourself, if this guy is feeling like this, what about us, the young ones who are just trying to show that we can actually learn something? So the whole point of that story is that there's absolutely nothing abnormal about fear. The question is, what do you want to do about it? Do you want to sit there and be afraid that your entire life, or do you want to actually step up and do something about it? And with that, we have a couple of people who have come out very loudly and expressed their um, you know, experience with imposter syndrome. And we have Michelle Obama. I believe all of us know Michelle Obama. And she says, she's the author of Becoming. And she says, I still have a little imposter syndrome. It doesn't go away. That feeling that you shouldn't take me that seriously. What do I do? What do I know? I share that with you because we all have doubts in our abilities about our power and what that power is. If Michelle Obama has experienced imposter syndrome, I mean, whom's are you? So what I am saying here is this is very normal, being afraid. Then we have Meryl Streep. If you don't know who Meryl Streep, she is a 3 times Academy Award winner. 3 times. And she still says, you think, why would anyone want to see me again in a movie? And I don't know how to act anyway. So why am I doing this? For her to have earned even the first Academy Award, I mean, she must have done something. To have it 3 times and still be able to experience this just means that she's just as normal as the rest of us. And of course, we know Maya Angelou, the poet. I have written 11 books, but each time I think, oh, they are going to find out now. I have run a game on everybody and they are going to find me out. So, what is this telling us? As brilliant and as powerful and as experienced and as capable as you are still going to suffer from imposter syndrome. The question again is, what do you want to do about it? So, how do you cope with this? Number one, you need to be able to separate your feelings from facts. And let me tell you something about feelings. Feelings are just feelings, they change. They change. How you are feeling in the morning is not the way you're feeling now. You have to be abnormal if you are feeling the same way this morning, and that is the same feeling you have now. If you're angry at 6 a.m. and you're still angry now, there's a problem with you that you need to deal with. What I am saying is, when you start to get afraid, you have to look into yourself and ask, is this just a feeling of fear? Or am I actually not capable of doing what I am supposed to do? Grace has a brilliant way of making my life miserable sometimes. And even during this presentation, Grace called me on Monday morning. Monday morning was yesterday. And she was like, by the way, Annie, you will be speaking on imposter syndrome tomorrow night. And I'm like, Grace, don't I need notice to be able to come up with notes and everything around that whole subject? She said, oh, I know you will be able to figure it out, so please get to work. And when she said I am speaking tonight, yesterday in the morning, and I was like, hey, my God. I felt that sense of, can I do this? But then I realized this is not the first speaking engagement that I have done for Atara and other, situations. So it is nothing new. It is just the imbalance that comes with, oh, I am going to be speaking in a crowd. Number two, challenge your negative beliefs. We talked about your childhood experiences. And one of the example that I gave was that if you're not number one, then it means you're failing. You and I know that being number one in school has very little to do with the successes that we experience in life. We have people who have demonstrated that being number one academically does not translate into the success that you would be able to have as a person when it comes to your professional life. So you need to be able to challenge those conditionings that you have had over time and look at where you are right now. You are not here because you are number one in high school or at the university. You are here because you have constantly and consistently put in work. And that is a fact. So it means that regardless of whether you had a first class honors at the university or you had a second lower or you have your diploma, you have the ability to be whatever you choose to be if you work at it. Then the other thing is you need to be able to define success. This one I keep telling people, if you do not know what success will look like, then at the end of the day, you will not know whether you have failed or you have succeeded. So you will be roaming around the air there thinking, oh, did I do well or did I not do well or what? So you need to know at the end of the day, what does success look like in this project? So that after the completion or as you're moving towards the completion, you can be able to say, oh, we have moved to this stage or to that stage or to whatever stage, and you keep moving. Because if you do not know what success will look like, then every small setback will bring you back to having panic attacks and anxiety and doubts and all that stuff. And something that you would have done very seamlessly and effortlessly becomes now a challenge. And you might end up giving up on it, not because you're incapable, but because you did not know how success would look like at the end of it. So every other thing that did not fit the plan that you had just confirmed to you that you have actually failed. Then, this one is controversial. Limit social media usage. Anyway, this one, whatever you do with this information, please note that it is entirely up to you. What is important, even as you look at limiting or not of social media usage, is please always remember the social media, the person you meet on social media and the person you meet on ground are two different people most of the time. So stop comparing yourself with all those people who are succeeding on social media. They may or may not actually be succeeding. Some of them have not done half of the things that they come out there to show that they have done. And we have seen a lot of those fraudsters being exposed. And you are there holding on, and you are comparing yourself with them every day. You're working hard here and you're thinking, why am I not getting to their level? Please walk your path. You may limit your social media usage or not, but try to be able to do what? To realize that curated content and real content, which is you, are two different things. Then also learn to self-soothe. What do I mean by this? You know, the pressure that comes with imposter syndrome, the fear, the anxiety, the panic attacks, you need to be able to find a way to calm yourself. Once these feelings of fear start to come in, how do I self-soothe? There are people who will tell you, I will need to sit and meditate. I will need to sit and do breathing exercises and calm my nerves. And, you know, with a calm nerve, my mind can start to think properly, etc. So if that is your way, self-soothing will be able to assist you in doing what? In relaxing your mind so that you can focus. Because the moment you are agitated, you are out of control, you are imbalanced, you don't think straight. You start to imagine that the fear that you're feeling is actually the facts. So self-soothing will be able to calm down your nervous system, and then you are now able to think clearly and see, is this really the situation, or am I just overthinking it? Also, and for professionals in this forum, one of the other things you can be able to do to cope with imposter syndrome is find yourself a mentor. Why is mentorship important? A coach or a mentor, somebody who will be able to hold your hand, keep you accountable, be able to walk the journey with you. And with that, you can also get experiences from them in terms of how have they handled these kinds of scenarios. Because with a coach or a mentor, you are able to, you know, if this person has done it, then why can't, or why am I unable to do it? And they will be able to walk with you. And every time you feel afraid of taking the next step, somebody is there to hold your hand and to guide you through it. And finally, as Africans, I know we do not subscribe to this a bit. Therapy, seeking the help of a psychotherapist is very important. And it is very highly recommended. I know we have been conditioned in the African setup that therapy is a white people issue. As a person, when you are having all these panic attacks and anxiety and everything that is clouding your judgment and you're not able to move to the next level, you need to be able to speak to a professional who can guide you or walk with you in terms of understanding what is the root cause of all this fear that you feel and how can you be able to overcome them. So, as we wind up on this conversation, this is what I would like you to know. First, you need to stop doubting yourself. You are not here by accident, unless you defrauded somebody to get to this point. But if you have worked as hard as I am imagining you have, then you need to stop doubting yourself, number one. And number two, you need to be reminded or remind yourself that you are far more capable than you think. And the only way to know that you are far more capable than you think is think about the person that you were in 2021. Is that the same person that you are in 2025? If the answer is yes, then I know there is a problem with you that you need to work on. But I believe that for most of us here, you are not the same person that you were last year or in 2021. Why? You have grown. Why have you grown? You have worked hard towards it. You have put your capabilities out there. You have tested the waters. You have tried. You have failed. You have tried again. And let me tell you, the thing about overcoming imposter syndrome, the worst that could happen is for you to fail. But then after you have failed, then you start over. So there are two things. You try, you either succeed or you learn. Two things. Now, this is the book that I co-authored, Overcoming Imposter Syndrome, How to Overcome Self-Doubt and Achieve Success. A copy goes for 2,000 Kenya shillings only. If you'd like to get a copy, please reach out to me. I will be able to organize for you to get one. But aside from that, I would like to say a very huge thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for listening to my presentation.
That means we are on the final days. We close the webinar sometime in November. Yeah, so Grace is saying I'm stuck with number 4. Where is it? Gladys says, this is one topic I dare not miss. So much to learn. Thank you, Anne. Nolasco says, fantastic. Unita Naisula says, thank you, Anne. Fantastic. And Edward says, extremely insightful. Helen says, this is quite informative. Peter Wanyela, informative. Well done, Anne. Monica Mukeangi, I'm a certified ACC coach. I discovered my niche partnering with clients to assist them overcome imposter syndrome. Let me get moving by overcoming my own imposter syndrome. Yes, thank you, Monique. I know you are working towards that one. Great sharing. I hope, where is that? This was excellent. And how do I cope with a soloist supervisor? That is now the switched part. And maybe you can take that. How do I switch? Mwenda, I will send you Anne's number. If you cannot find it, I will send it to you in a bit. But yes, Anne, you can answer that question. How do I cope with a soloist supervisor?
All right. Now, when you have a soloist supervisor, that is somebody who believes that they are the only person who can actually do the work, which means, therefore, is that they will be able to withhold work from you sometimes to assign you responsibilities. And sometimes you have to actually ask for that work to be given to you, because if you don't ask and you imagine that they will see and assign you that work, you will be sitting the whole day while they are overwhelmed over there. So be proactive to be able to step up and ask them, I have finished this work and I can see you are doing 1, 2, 3. Please allow me to be able to assist you on this. And, so take initiative to be able to actually ask. Because if you don't ask, they will not. And the reason they are suffering from the soloist mentality is because they are probably very afraid that if they give you that work, then you might be able to outshine them. So when that scenario comes in, even after you have done the work, you need to be able to be humble enough to allow them take credit for the work that you have done, because over time, I can tell you for sure, somebody is going to take note of the work that you are doing. So for now, for purposes of maintaining peace and sanity in your office, if it gets to a point where the credit has to be taken by your boss, please don't feel hurt about it. Just let it be. But step up and be able to actually offer to assist them. And once you have done the work for them, or the work they have assigned you, make it a point to be able to take them through it if need be, so that when they go out there to shine, they can shine in your name. Grace?
I hear you, and I think one of the things that can help you, as Anne has put it, is sometimes you let go of the need to get credit, especially when your boss is there, because if you realize that your boss likes taking credit, let them have it. Eventually you will get your opportunity to shine, and they always know that you are the person making them shine. So yes, and doing it afraid is something that you have to really embrace. And one of the things I think one of the things that has really encouraged me as I've seen Anne take on some of these challenges is the fact that she also wants to do it afraid. She's really determined to not let that imposter thing just stop her. And I think that is one of the biggest messages we have here. Now, there's somebody here who is saying, and somebody is asking, do you have soft copies of the book? And please have your camera on. We are live somewhere else now that the screen is not there.
Okay. Yes, there is actually the book is available on Amazon. So please reach out to me and I will be able to share with you the details of this, so you can either get a soft copy of it or a hard copy of it.
Jennifer says, "Yeah, I have the book. Got it from Faith Ngunjiri."
Right.
Yeah. So Mercy Macau is saying, "Thank you, Anne. That was a great presentation. My question is, how can we ensure that we don't settle for less while trying not to compare ourselves with others?"
Now that is why I talked about defining what success looks like for you. Because once you have an understanding of what success will look like for you, not just in your work but even in your life, then you can be able to know when you are making progress. And then it doesn't matter how much the other person is doing, because if you don't know where you what you define as success as a professional or in your personal life, then anything goes. Anytime somebody tries to do something new and you consider amazing, it imbalances you, because you're now wondering, why am I sleeping on my potential, when the reality is you're actually doing your best as far as your capabilities are concerned and the resources that are available for you or with you at that time. So define what success looks like for you and then start working towards it, because once you start to see the milestones, then the need to compare yourself to the other person is gone, and you probably just want to look at them to see what new thing can I also try, but not necessarily wanting to be like them or to do exactly what they are doing. Grace?
Absolutely. And Douglas is saying, how do you manage a coworker who is always loud and shining but less effort, while you believe in doing the heavy lifting and you get little or no acknowledgement?
There are people who are generally loud. They want to walk into the room and literally ask the rest of you to sit down without asking you to sit down in words. The thing is, own what you do. Own what you do, because once you are knowledgeable in that area, I will tell you, it does not matter how loud the person gets. If they are not able to explain it the way only you can do it, then they can shout at the top of their lungs. They still wouldn't know what to talk about. So, on the work, and even as you do the heavy lifting, please do not lift too heavy. Eh? Do what you can. You know the thing about doing everything, you want to be the one doing literally everything, you are going to burn out. So, even that loud one, assign them something to do so that they can shout about it. But the point, the overall point I am putting across here is on what you are doing, and be so excellent at it that no matter how much your loud colleague shouts, it cannot outshine results. Grace.
That's true. Yes. And then who? For soft copy, where can I get it? I think, Anne, you might want to share that screen with your contact details once more. Richard, anything for Anne? Mr. Magoma. Oops. Richard. Okay. So for those of you who are asking about the contact details for Anne, you can take a screenshot or you can get in touch with us again and we'll be able to link you up with Anne for either to access the book. And Joel Kibet is saying he wants that talking for their staff. Yes, reach out to Anne as well, and she's able to deliver the same to your workplace as well. So right, I see we probably have exhausted the questions, and thank you very much. And yes, we had told you we'd share with you what's coming up. Jacinta, I don't know whether you're ready with your screen sharing for joining us tonight. Paul has been kind enough to share our YouTube channel. Please follow it all. Kindly join us for the job evaluation masterclass, and you can get to experience. Please join our WhatsApp group if you're joining us for the first time. Guess what we are discussing next week? Now, I'm very excited about next week as well. We are going to look at your wounds when it comes to money. Hey, your relationship with money. There is something that happened during your childhood that you have either scarcity mindset, you have an abundance mindset. Aha. Next Tuesday, we are going to be looking at money wounds. Aha. Yes. So please keep it here. And for you to know more about what's coming up on Get It Right with the Tara Solutions, you can join us on our WhatsApp group, or you can follow us on Instagram at Tara Solutions, like our Facebook page at Tara Solutions, connect with us on LinkedIn at Tara Solutions, and I was told we are on TikTok. I will let you know which one we are on TikTok. on TikTok. Yeah, so we are also on TikTok, and we should be able to do that. I am told I'm having Pesa or task. Yes, Pesa or task. And we're going to be looking at your money wounds. And maybe, Anne, just quickly, from Emily Odhiambo, how do you handle a boss who keeps calling you out, learned, when giving out assignments? How do you handle a boss who keeps calling you out, learned, when giving out assignments?
Maybe Emily can be able to explain that learned bit, because it makes answering that question a bit more difficult. So maybe she can unmute herself and just say, so that
it's not very clear.
Yes, Emily, please unmute yourself.
If they're not able to unmute, I have to unmute her. Let me find out whether she's still with us.
So she's saying, like, in qualifications. All right. So if your boss calls you
like learned friend.
All right. Emily, your hand is raised.
Go ahead, Anne.
All right. So if your boss keeps calling you learned, maybe unless they're saying it in a very condescending manner, then you need to be able to take it as a compliment. And it does not need to give you pressure in terms of now trying to outshine everybody and to do all the work and to break your back and get burned out because he believes that you are the brilliant person in the team. However, if it is on the flip side, where this is used as a way to put you down, and that is where I talked about the condescending aspect, then you need to be able to call it out privately with your boss and tell them that this is something that, it makes me very uncomfortable. And I think you don't need to do that to me publicly because of 1, 2, 3. But you need to be able to address that issue, because if you don't address it, your boss continues to operate on the mindset that you are comfortable with it. However, if it is done as a compliment, then go do your thing, Madam Brilliant. Yes.
Yeah, and maybe it comes out in, and maybe the person, maybe if you ever get an opportunity to give them feedback, you can look for an opportunity to let them know that it's not comfortable, especially if they are able to take feedback. It is okay to give people feedback and let them know that calling you learned friend does not necessarily sit well with you. Maybe they say it without knowing that they're actually offending you. Yeah, and maybe the last question, Emily says, no, it's not a compliment. Yeah, if it's not a compliment, then switch it. Sometimes if you cannot change things, then you let them go. So either you give them feedback or you probably find a way to make it work for you. And Annette is saying, how do you politely tell your boss not to call more than 3 times in a row? He sometimes doesn't understand you can be away from your phone. I really do find this habit annoying. Okay. And
It is, it is, it is actually annoying. And I have a client who, when he calls and you don't pick up, and they will call you 6 times continuously, and you're wondering, my God, am I coming with the fire extinguisher or what is going on here? But the point is, you need to be able to talk about this. Tell them. I don't know, politely. You will find the right words to tell them, but please just let them know. Um, Sometimes I'm not very close to my phone when you call. Please note that if I don't pick your call on the first missed call, I will definitely call you back, and make sure that you actually follow through and you call them back when you miss their calls, because there are people who are very paranoid and they want to call you continuously until your phone goes off. Then now it will go to voicemail and they become very frustrated. But you see, the thing, just like Emily's scenario, if you don't speak about it, again, politely, by telling them, sometimes I am not up close to my phone, but I will call back as soon as, then the next time they want to call you, the second time, they will remember, and they will call you, of course, but then they will keep remembering that you have actually addressed this. So you, over time, you will start to see a shift if they are sane. If they are not sane, then there's a probability that this is going to continue. So you will just call back when you finally get your phone, and then tell them that, I was not close to my phone. I don't know whether you're supposed to apologize for not being close to your phone, but you know, you can figure that out. I don't know what you think, Grace.
I'm laughing. There's somebody who has said, my boss once got me a pouch to always carry my phone so that I can never miss their call.
Ah,
Yeah, it gets
and when
worse.
you are sleeping, what happens when
Yeah,
they
what
call when you
happens?
are asleep?
Exactly. I don't know. Anyway,
All right.
so I think that's it on imposter syndrome, and I had talked to you about job evaluation masterclass. This is actually going to earn you 6 CPD points, and it's going to be a 3-day intense learning, so that you can actually master the skill of job evaluation. 5th to 7th of November. It's going to be here in Nairobi, and I think by next Tuesday we shall have a complete flyer with the speakers and also where the location of the training. So please do join us. That 5,500 is less VAT. And yes, we shall be sending you an email soon with the details on how to join us. So please plan for it. Come, your 6 CPD points, your expertise in job evaluation, and just come network and enjoy yourself during this season. So that is it from us. Thank you so much, Anne, for preparing for this. Thank you for always being ready. And thank you for overcoming the imposter syndrome. You're doing very well. I'm one of
It
your
is,
cheerleaders. And of course, I will get you into the worst of ditches. Uh,
it is a continuous process. It is
I will promise.
it is a very intentional, continuous process of just not letting fear get you down. Otherwise, you will not do anything significant in this life.
Thank you for being clear on that, and I will continue throwing you on the deep end, because I think throwing you on the deep end and then handing you the rod has been working. So we continue working as we go. And thank you, Frank Wambari, all the way from UK. Thank you for joining us as well. So you've done a very good job, Anne, and thank you. Keep shining, keep growing. And to all of you, may you keep overcoming the imposter syndrome, and may you believe in the success that you are really, really making a difference, because it's true that you are actually making a difference. So thank you so much, you people. To you, our audience, we cannot do this without you. Asanteni sana for being with us, and we look forward to having you. So thank you so much, and you guys have a lovely, lovely, lovely night. And see you next Tuesday as we look at money wounds. Asanteni sana. Good night.